Everyone, just making a quick video about the Helenback race series to give everybody a bit of more insight about this race series so that you guys are better prepared for the marathon next April 14, 2018. There's not a lot of info out there yet on this race, so I hope you find this helpful. First, please note the date. It is April 14, 2018. This is important because if you start training today, you will have about 15 weeks to prepare for this marathon. Trust me, you will need every bit of the training that you can get. And to register, here at the top, you'll see the URL, helenbackseries.com. So you can just go in here and register for the race. One thing you do want to note that is you can sign up for a 5K, a half marathon, or the full marathon. That's right, the 26.2 miles. All right, moving on. So the Helenback Marathon. Let's just say that I kicked my tail this year in 2017, and I have been training since April, pretty much after the race, so that I can make sure that I earn my beer mug in 2018. Yes, you do get one after the race. And yes, I am a first year long distance runner. And, the first time that I attempted this race, I really had no idea what I was doing. So thank you to all the runners that have given me advice throughout the year. And hopefully I will complete the full marathon this year. All right, few housekeeping items that I wanted to cover right away is pretty much the deadlines and the registration fees. Go ahead and note the different dates that they have and the different prices that they give you depending on when you sign up, and also the registration deadline, which is April 8th, 2018. I just want to make sure that I at least cover that so that everybody's aware of those specific deadlines. All right, other things to pay attention to. On April 14, the start time is 7 a.m. The pretty much the director and the crew do an amazing job at setting this up so that we can start on time. So you just make sure that you get all your warm-ups done, bathroom breaks out of the way early on, and that way we can be ready to go around 7 a.m. sharp. All right, just a couple things that you will find on the website. I mean, this is basically the profile of the marathon. You can see almost 4,000 feet of elevation. Your legs are going to feel every bit of it. All right, now onto the actual race. I do want to focus a little bit or spend a few minutes on the aid stations, mainly because you want to make sure you understand how far apart they are. This is very helpful as you prepare your water supply that you're going to bring along for the race. That was a huge mistake that I made during my first attempt. And trust me, I've looked at this many times so that I can make sure during my my training runs that I bring enough water and that I time my water properly so that I can make it through the entire race. So again, spend a little bit of time looking at this, and I'll cover some of it as we go through the layout of the race. So now onto the actual race. I want to, first take you to the map, and we're going to zoom in on the starting line, which is at the bottom of Helen, Georgia, right here. Let me go ahead and zoom in. So this is the starting area. Usually when you pull into the property, they ask you to park your cars along this area right here. You will find all the porta potties lined up over here, or at least that's the way it was set up in 2017. And basically all the registration areas were set up right around this area right here. So again, this is the starting line. The one thing that you want to be aware of is right at the very beginning of the race, you're going to find a series of hills that are really going to test you right away. This right here is not too bad, but as you start climbing into this area, I mean, it really, really gets steep, and is you don't want to burn fuel too early. But once you get past that, you get into a much better situation for the rest, I guess, of this section here. So you can see you're going to have some basic, trails, ups and downs that you would see pretty much anywhere. Nothing too complicated, nothing too technical, very straight up running. Some routes, but for the most part, a nice easy run through here until you get to 356. Once you get into 356, you're going to be running across the dam here and into the actual trail. So let me, zoom in a little bit here, and what you'll notice is you're going to be following the edge of the lake for the most part until you hit the beach here. You're going to go up some steps. You're going to go across the beach, go up some steps, across the bridge. And the one thing that you want to highlight is that you don't want to make a right, because otherwise you just basically end up creating a circle around the lake. You're going to hang a left, which is going to take you into your first aid station. This is the Roadkill aid station. They do a very good job at setting this up. They have, plenty of water, plenty of snacks, peanut butter sandwiches, M&Ms, you name it. And it was a good stopping point for everybody to refill any water bottles that they had, or even the Camelbacks. They did have large coolers there. So again, just overall a good place to stop, get a good stretch, and get ready for the next part of the race. So once you finish here, you're going to go across into Anna Ruby Falls Road. This right here is actually a road. This is not a trail. So, one of the things that I did hear, some of the people that I was running with, it was just the type of shoe that they were using. They could definitely feel the difference between being on the trail and being on the road. So again, that first time when I did it, I probably had uh, some Adidas shoes, which now I continue to run on those, and it really helped me through both the trails and the actual road running that happens here. It is a very steep run up this road. You do catch a couple breaks along the way, but it will definitely start to test your legs, as you move through the track. Now, when you get here to the Anna Ruby Falls Recreation Area, the one thing that I will note is that there are bathrooms here available, and then there's also a water fountain. If you didn't get a chance to fill up earlier, or you didn't want to because you don't want to carry the extra weight, now is a good time for you to do it using that water fountain. I know I used it again when I go and do some of my test runs. Always stop right here. That way I'm not running too heavy with the water until I get to this point. Here's where I fill up my water bottle and my Camelback, and then start the climb into the actual falls. Now from here up, it is very, very steep. At some points, you really just want to hang on to the rail just to give yourself a little bit of leverage until you get to the actual falls. I do have to say that is some beautiful sights along the way as you go over some of the bridges and you get a chance to stop at the falls for a second. Maybe if it is just to give your legs a little bit of rest, but you see the falls here, and I got to tell you again, what a beautiful sight. All right, so right here at the very bottom of the falls, you're going to climb up a set of steps and you're going to make a right. That takes you right back onto a trail that is, at this point, again, not too technical, but it is a very narrow trail that you're going to have to get on. Do recall, and I've seen several trees that are laying down. You may have to work your way around them, but nothing too bad. Also, climbing over a couple boulders, again, not too bad. So this is again, while you are still climbing, your legs do get a couple breaks along the way. So here, you continue your climb all the way to the next aid station. And I don't want to bore you through all the details here, but basically, I do want to take you here to this section, which is this right here. I believe this is First Blood. Let me zoom in here. So one of the things that you'll notice around the description of the aid stations is they talk about this being a very small aid station because they're not able to really get a car or anything in here, with large coolers or food. And if I recall correctly, during the 2017 race, there was a person here with an actual just a large jug of water, and that was basically it. And that was for people like myself who, again, not very well prepared for the race, but you're able to get enough water to keep going. So, and this is also another breaking point. If I zoom out, you'll notice that there is two lines here. There's a line that goes left, which is going to take you to the top of Trey Mountain, and then there is this line right here that's going to be the one that you're going to take when you're on your way back. You will not go back the same way you came. You're going to be taking this trail here to get back to the bottom and the finish line. So from here, once you make that left, I will tell you this is a more technical section of the race. There's a lot more things along the trail, such as some larger boulders that you have to deal with, some more narrow areas, and the climb, you really start to feel it at this point because it is a little bit more of a steep climb from that point on. You don't find as many breaks along the way where your legs can rest, so your hips, your hip flexors are really starting now to burn all the way to your next aid station. Many of you are probably in better shape than I am, so you may not even feel that. But again, for some of you first-time runners, I'm sure is going to be shocking you by this point and wondering why you're doing this. The other part of it too is, at this point, most of the runners, you see that they have spread out and they've gained some separation between each other, and you're running basically by yourself, alone with your thoughts, along with some snakes possibly, and maybe even some bears that hopefully are not chasing you by now. All right, so you get to this point right here. This is the bottom of Trey Mountain Road, I believe. Let me just zoom out. Yeah, this is the bottom of Trey Mountain Road. As you can see, there's a split here. There will be someone here at another aid station. Usually, again, in 2017, there was a nice guy with a truck that had a fully stocked aid station. It had all the water, snacks that you can take, so that way you can refuel. Make sure that your body has enough fuel to be able to make it to the top, which I believe at that point is a little bit of over 3 miles to get to the top of Trey Mountain. This section, I would say, is even a little bit tougher than this last section that we just covered because it is mostly dirt, gravel, rocks, large stones, large chunks of trees laying on the ground, and there's not a lot of room to catch a nice break for your feet. It is very challenging. You got to be very careful to not twist an ankle during this section right here. The other part that you'll notice, I know, in some of the test runs that I've done, is that you start to see Jeeps, SUVs driving through this area right here. Don't be tempted to catch a ride. I know I have several times wanted just to get in the back of one of those Jeeps and make it to the top and let my legs rest for a little bit. So don't be tempted. People will be very nice to provide you with some water if they see you struggling. I know I've taken water from people before. Very nice couple, last time I was up there, saw me running, by myself and wanted to make sure that I had enough water, and they offered me a nice cold bottle of water. Um, Not a bad experience here. You know, as you start getting to the top, you run through a couple nice little sections that have small waterfalls that you'll see along the way, and then at the very top you will have the final aid station, which again, if I recall correctly, in 2017, it was another truck that was fully stocked. It had plenty of snacks, plenty of water to refill your water bottles, or if you had a Camelback before you start making your way down. Now, I don't want to bore you with talking about, what you're going to see on the way back, because it's basically the same thing. You're just going to experience a little bit of, different muscles kick in as you would anticipate on the way down. I know my knees for sure, my ankles were on fire on the way down. And again, the one thing to be very careful with is all the rocks that you're going to see along the way. This is the part where you can probably risk a twisted ankle, if not, even possibly a broken ankle if you're not careful. So you go right back down to the aid station, and the one thing to also think about is the time that you have at this point to be able to make it to the bottom. Always keep in mind that you have 7 hours to complete the course. So, if there's a point where you want to call it a day, this is going to have to probably be the that point where you have to make a decision. And also because it's probably the only area where they can safely extract you from the race via that truck that's sitting here as an aid station. All right. So again, nothing crazy to expect around here other than lots of technical trails, very technical trails that you're gonna have to deal with that you already went through. So just be mindful of your speed as you're coming down the mountain. And this is again that part that we talked about earlier, where there's a split. Since you're not going back the way you came from, you're going to be asked to go down, on a straight line here. Which, when you look at where you end up, you basically end up by the lake area. If I zoom out, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Now you're getting here near the lake, going right back where you came from. You hop over 356 per minute, back through the trails, and now here's another split. Again, not going back the way you came from, but you are going to go into the field aid station here. Now you know you're getting closer. You got probably the last few miles that you have to worry about. Go across the field, and now you see through the map how close you are to your original trail. There's both of them right here, except it's going to send you on another loop that's eventually going to end up right back to the starting line, and that will be the finish area that you will be so happy to see at the very end. Alright, so that's it. All that in a nutshell. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and good luck in April. Look forward to seeing you there.